Hey Agape, welcome back this week. If this is your first time here, and you would say, I'm not Agape, don't say that to me. Yes, you are. If you're here and you're watching, you're a part of it. You don't have to believe what we believe to belong. We are simply an online ministry. We are here to add some joy and encouragement to your newsfeed. We're here to share who Jesus is. And we just hope to be an encouragement to your day, something fun, something light, something good in this
get a little laughter.
Year of 2020, right? Yeah, laughter's good.
Yeah,
all of it.
All of it. Don't laugh at us. Laugh with us.
It might be hard.
That could be hard. You can laugh at us. We don't care, actually. Oh man, I'm pumped. It's another episode. Let's see. I think this is 7. We've done 7 of these on the story of Joseph.
Yes.
It's a powerful thing. Like Monica said too, like this is a journey, and we just want to encourage you, bring a little bit of light, and bring some of Jesus to you. Mm-hmm. We want you to kind of understand that this journey of following God is amazing. Mm-hmm. A lot of twists and turns as we find out with Joseph. And this series, it's called Dreamin because I think a lot of us have big dreams. I think a lot of us are trying to figure out what dream God has given us and
how we get there from here.
What does that look like? Yeah. You know, we forget to do this every single time.
I'm Monica.
And I'm Chris. And we have the honor to lead this church, this community. It's a gift. It's a blessing that we get to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm pumped.
We are 2 weeks from Thanksgiving, holiday time.
My favorite holiday.
Times. We hope that you guys are having a good week. That you're not anxious about these things. It should be a good time, fun time of gratitude. We've been working in our backyard.
Ooh, wait. Look at my fingers.
Chris is putting me to work. Oh, I have
my fingers
on my thumb.
I got paint on my fingers.
We're laying pavers.
Oh, we're doing the thing. We're doing it. It's going to look good. As a matter of fact, it's been dirt for over a year.
Our house is full of dirt all the time. It's going to be amazing. And we're hoping to have it done for Thanksgiving.
We will.
We can have our family over.
We will.
And enjoy the weather.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. We're pumped.
So hopefully you're not also doing the same thing. It's not that fun. It is fun. Actually.
I feel for you.
And
I feel for you.
Yeah.
Well, and we get to do it together. We're pretty handy.
And we work okay together. I know that not a lot of married couples can do that, so we're thankful for that.
Yeah, we love hanging fans.
We met
except
a guy
for
at
my mom's house because it doesn't work.
It's really good.
My mom-in-law, I should say.
We met a guy at Lowe's while we were loading bricks up onto our cart, and he was trying to figure out how much concrete he needed. He's talking to his wife on the phone. He's like, well, what are you guys doing? You look like you're about to do a lot of work. And we're like, oh yeah, it's going to be so fun. We're laying pavers. He's like, fun. I can't do anything with my wife.
And I'm like,
she always thinks she's right, and I don't know anything. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, well, good talk. See you later.
Yeah.
That kind of put it into perspective for us. So we were like, you know what?
So we're grateful for our relationship. Good. You know, obviously, there are times where I look at her and I'm like, stop controlling me.
Right. I have a really good supervisor, you guys. Really good supervisor.
She won't let me do half the work. Anyways, what's this got to do with Joseph? We're not sure. But we wanted you to come into our little world and our space. So the next about week and a half, we are going to be in the backyard.
You want to come help? That's really what the point was.
You know what? We really
hired. We pay in.
What do we pay in?
Food?
Dude, sure.
Good company? I
don't know. Coffee. I'll make sure you'll have a lot of coffee. I'll tell you that.
Come on over.
Over.
Unload some bricks, shovel some dirt. I don't know. Sounds fun to me.
I don't know. Lay in the dirt. All right, here we go. Whoa. Here we go.
We are on week number 7 of Joseph, of Dreamin. And you've missed a lot if you've missed all the weeks. And I'm going to go through them real quick for you just to catch you up. If you want to watch all of those, trust me, they're full of goodness, full of drama. You don't need to watch a soap opera. You could just get into this.
You got
it's full of craziness. Joseph has a messed up family. He has 11 brothers. One of the brothers is sleeping with the other brother's mom. There's 4 wives all together at the same time. There's prostitution happening. There's so much.
All of it.
Deceit, lies, almost murder, just craziness. So you can go back and watch all 6 of those episodes. You
Please
can
do.
either go to YouTube. It's Agape Church PHX on YouTube. You can subscribe while you're there, and then you won't ever miss any videos.
Click this button right here.
Subscribe. And like.
I don't know if it's there, but I'm just doing this. I don't know. Yeah.
That's what all the YouTubers do. Hit subscribe.
Hit the subscribe. Yeah. Hit that thing. Hit that button right now. No, please do though. Please do.
You can go there, or you can visit our website. Our website is agapechurchphx.org. All of our videos, all of these Dreamin videos, plus all the ones we've done all year, they're all on there. You can watch them whenever you want, whenever you feel like
that's right.
You want to laugh at somebody.
And also it'll be on Facebook and Instagram. It'll be on all that. IGTV.
All of that.
Yeah, all that.
So you can go back and watch them all in detail if you want to.
Yep.
Basically what has happened so far is, like we said, Joseph, his father's name was Jacob, also called Israel sometimes. His father loved him more than he loved all of his brothers, mostly because he loved his mom more than all of his other wives. Joseph's mom was Jacob's favorite wife. And so that means Jacob is his favorite son.
Yes. Long story.
Not right, not nice.
We don't know.
But that's just how it went. He had a dream. God revealed to him, in your life, all your brothers and your parents are going to bow down to you one day. And Joseph shared this dream with his family, and they were like, that's not cool. We don't like you. We already didn't like you. We actually hate you. We're going to kill you. And then they're like, well, maybe we won't kill him. We'll just sell him so we can make some money. He ends up in Egypt, and God is with him this entire time. He ends up in Potiphar's house. He does very well there. He's ahead of everything. He's in charge of Potiphar's whole entire estate. Then Potiphar's wife falsely accuses him of sexual assault, rape, and so Potiphar throws him in prison. There he spends a few years. He was 17 when he was very first sold into slavery, and now he is 30 years old. He just got out of prison, and he was introduced to Pharaoh. And he was introduced to Pharaoh because Pharaoh had a dream that he wanted to have interpreted, and he heard that Joseph could do this. So Joseph is introduced to Pharaoh. This is where we left off last week. And Pharaoh says to him, because God is with him, and it also said that the Spirit of God was in Joseph. This is the first time in the Bible that it says that a man had the Spirit of God in him. And
which is very important to note that. Sorry,
yes.
I keep cutting her off, but very important.
So Pharaoh then puts him in charge of everything in his kingdom and his land. And he says, you know what? Next to me, the only reason that I have more power over you is because I have the throne. Other than that, you are in charge, and you can make all the same calls that I can make. You are in charge of this entire land. Because Joseph interpreted his dream well, and he said, here's the deal. You're going to have 7 years of, what's it called? Abundance. And then you're going to have 7 years of famine. And so we need to come up with a plan. And so Pharaoh said, you're the guy. You come up with the plan. Everything's in your hands. And so Joseph was given this very elite job. He was given new clothes. He was given a chariot. He was given everything. Pharaoh gave him his ring, his signet ring. And Joseph was in charge. He was in charge of everything and all of the land. And it was his job to come up with this plan. And so his plan was for everyone in these years of abundance to give a fifth of their grain to store up for the 7 years of famine. And so, as you can imagine, when you are rolling in the dough and everything is going really well, it's hard to imagine, especially 7 years down the road, that things might be different. And so I don't think that everyone was on board, yes, we're all going to happily give up our grain.
Not at all.
Right?
Yeah, not at all. Could you imagine even today, you think about that, example of
somebody telling you.
you're rolling in so much dough, right? And then somebody's telling you take,
Right. Imagine if our president did that. If he was like,
you're like,
listen,
what? I worked hard for this. And
I know for sure that in 7 years, the economy is going to tank. So we're just going to tax you an extra 20%. And then that way, we'll just put it away in your retirement fund. But we're going to make you do it. And then that way, in 7 years, when the economy takes, you'll be taken care of. Sounds like a good plan, but would you believe them? And would you want to do it? So many people nowadays actually, they don't even want to put away for their retirement anyway, right?
Or savings.
Yeah, or their savings.
Anything.
So many of us
like
just
that.
want to spend and use what we have.
You're like, get the money, let's go buy stuff.
Don't
all that,
plan for the future. We just think that everything's always going to be as it is. And if we had a president who's forcing us to do this, I think that a lot of people would push back on that, right? And so for Joseph, I think a lot of people were probably like, you're crazy. How do we even know there's going to be a famine? Oh, God told you there's going to be a famine? Really cool. Like, whatever, man, you're crazy. But nevertheless, they had to give up their grain. So I don't know that Joseph was a super popular leader at that time, but he was
I doubt it.
doing what God had revealed.
But God, and I think this is the powerful thing about this whole story of Joseph. I mean, there's chapter upon chapters about this, but it's so cool. Like the fact that he's able to stand up and actually like deliver, like, hey, this is what's going to take place because this is from God, not from me. And I'm willing to take all the backstabbing. I'm willing to take the heat, whatever it looks like. But I do know that this famine is coming. Mm-hmm. And this 7 years, we have abundance because God has blessed us. And I did tell you all that, but there's also going to be a famine. And I truly believe that, man, people did probably hate on him, right? But he stayed the course. And I think if you get nothing out of this whole series, just know God is with you. Listen to what he says and do it. Be obedient to what he says, right? The word obedience gets a bad rep, but it's actually an amazing thing. It's something that allows us to get to a place where God is actually wanting to take us. And so in this, Joseph, this story, we see it over and over again. Once again, his character and integrity to stand up for what God has told him to do. And you know what the powerful thing is? It's he's the first guy that was given the Holy Spirit. So in each step, we realize why he got to this place. Yeah, it didn't look like he wanted it to, but he knew exactly what God was telling him because of the Spirit of God. You can have the Spirit of God today. Accepting Jesus, you get the Spirit of God. And I truly believe that through that, you can live this abundant life. And there's always more for you when you can live in the Spirit and know that, hey, no matter what, I'm going to stand firm. No matter how many friends I will lose, I know God's got me. And God is always with you. You need to know that today.
And it's not always going to make sense. That's the thing that
it never does.
Joseph's life didn't make sense. Joseph could have never sat back and said, I had this dream. I'm going to be in charge and my brothers and my family, they're all going to bow down to me one day. Well, here's the first step. I think I should start off as a slave and then maybe spend some time in prison. That'll get me to the top. That's going to, nobody would ever say that. As soon as any one of us ended up a slave or ended up in prison, either one, we would have been like, dream's over.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm a prisoner. I can never make it back to the top, right? I'm in prison. I'm in jail. I am facing jail time.
Yes.
There's no way I'm going to make it back to the top.
Absolutely.
Right? There's no way I can get a job after I have this felony on my record, right?
You need that hope. And that only comes from Jesus. It is vivid.
Right.
Because these seasons of your life, they're going to come. I will tell you, there's going to be some rough patches. But it's always better because Jesus is with you. You could just tell that Joseph had something different. He was always elevated no matter how bad the spot was. Right? He's in prison and God elevates him and he's leading the prison. Right? Like, it's like we can look at things from two different lenses and your perspective, worldview probably has to shift today. And we hope that we can bring a little bit of encouragement and say that only happens with Jesus.
Now, here's the thing too.
It only happens with Jesus.
I believe that, you could say God sent him to Egypt to be a slave, or he put him in prison on purpose so that he could go here or there. I don't know that that's true. In this case, maybe he did, and maybe sometimes he does do these things, but I don't think that God makes bad things happen in your life on purpose. When we say that God is in control.
Sorry. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh
All day long. Hey, I'm going to leave.
Okay,
Okay, sorry. I'm going to leave. I'm out of the equation, guys. Bye.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
Sorry. We're done. Oh,
It's over.
no. You were saying, how oftentimes we think, man,
God
this is
does
from
not
God.
cause bad
right?
things to happen in our
It's
lives.
not our God.
Sometimes he might, I think. But if it were up to God, I think that if he could just make it all smooth sailing for you, he would. Like when you think of a business owner, if we could have a smooth sailing business, a family that's all smooth sailing, we would choose that, right? And we think, oh, God's in control. That means he's making everything happen. But that's not the case. We have free will in this world because without that, we wouldn't have love. But because of that, we also have evil. We have sin. We have these messed up things that happen. So Joseph's brothers, they sinned, right? They were messed up. They had jealousy. They had pride. They wanted to murder their brother. They sold him into slavery, right? They are the ones that set this path in motion, trying to stop the plan that God had for Joseph's life. They were silly enough to think that they had enough power to stop God's plan for his life. But the reality is that God might not cause these things to happen, but he can twist and turn and pivot just like we have to do in business, right? The end goal is still the same. Right. Joseph's going to be in power and you're not going to stop me. I'm going to use his time as a slave. I'm going to use his time in prison. Woo. I'm going to use this other woman's false accusations against him, and I'm still going to get him there, right? Maybe God's plan in the beginning, maybe his course to get him there was different, but the plan is always the same. He said, I'm going to get him there. You're not going to stop me from that, no matter what you think that looks like. I'm going to get him there. And so sometimes we think that our life isn't making sense, and there's no way we can get to where God told us we were going. But you have got to stay the course and trust him, right? You don't have to believe that somebody else can stop your plan, right? Just because of the injustices that other people have put on your life, the abuse that they've caused in your life, the way you've been mistreated, the way that things have been mishandled, the way you got fired, whatever it is, God can use that in your life to still get you to where you need to go. Those people don't have control. They might think they have the power to put a roadblock in your life, but they don't. And you don't need to believe that either. And in the same way that other people don't have that power, neither do you. I think so many times that we get caught up in thinking that we have the power to totally misalign God's plans for our lives. We think that because I got divorced, I messed up God's whole plan for my life. It's never going to work out. Ooh, I had a child before I got married. I totally messed it up. God can't use me anymore, right?
That is so far from the truth. And if that's you today thinking, man, I messed up so bad, I'm so far from God, don't believe that. That is a lie. That is from Satan. Mm-hmm. Satan's good at lying. Mm-hmm. He is lying to you. God is obsessed with you. Mm-hmm. God's not telling you that. God is saying, I know, I hear you, but that's all a lie. Come here. Let me take care of you. Mm-hmm. And some of you need to choose Jesus today. Mm-hmm. Today's the day. Mm-hmm. Because that voice in the back of your head is not God. God is saying, come here, child. I got you. I don't care what you did. I don't care what you did last night or what you've done in the past. I have a plan for you. And whatever you did won't stop it. Whatever that person did won't stop it.
It's simply a pivot, right?
It's a pivot.
I listened to
it's huge.
A podcast a while back. And I'm probably going to mess up the story a little bit because I don't fully remember it. But it was the owner of Quest like nutrition bars. And it's a huge company now. It's like one of the best bars.
They're really good.
That's out there. It's one of the leading, brands or whatever.
We're not a sponsor for them, but we can be if you're listening. Quest bars. Woo! Let's go.
Anyway,
I think the birthday cake one will take.
They started out just making these bars like in their kitchen in their house and shipping them from home and all of this. And they were kind of in a place where it was like, every batch mattered, right? All these orders, like they were getting bigger and bigger. And every time they were just putting all their money back into it. And they were kind of like, and they had messed up this batch. Like it was supposed to be one flavor and they added a whole bunch of one ingredient. And they were like, "Ugh, like we totally messed this up. This is now like not the flavor we were trying to make. Like, what are we gonna?" And if they threw the whole thing out, it would have tanked them, right? It would have been a huge deficit. It would have messed them up financially and all the things. And instead of saying, "Oh well, I'm defeated, it can't go on," they got creative, right? And they said, "Oh, we'll just add this ingredient, and you know what? We're gonna make peanut butter and jelly bars."
What?
And
think about that.
That turned out to be one of their top sellers. It was just like, we're going to print new packages, new labels, and we're going to make peanut butter and jelly bars. And that's what they did. And it's one of their top selling flavors. And they're one of the biggest bar companies, nutrition companies out there now. And so it's like, that's what God does in our lives. It's okay. Yeah, we messed up, but you know what? Come back to me. He's way more creative than we ever can be. And the things that he has planned for us in our lives are beyond our wildest dreams of what he can do. And he can pivot just like that. And he can still use you no matter what your past has looked like or what you have done or what anybody else has done to you. God will use you in your life to complete whatever he has planned for it, as long as you allow him.
That's so encouraging today, especially for me. I mean, man, I need to hear that. Mm-hmm. Like you need to hear that today. Like no matter what, how far away you think you are from God, you're really not, because he's always with you. But you think that, like, man, there's this distance. I feel there's distance between my relationship with God. Or maybe you're like, I don't even know who God is. And you need to know he's a near God. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't make mistakes. And he's the best pivoter. Is that a word?
Yeah, sure.
Dude, I love it. He's the best pivoter ever. We talked about this last week, where it's like, it seems like you don't know what you're doing for like 2 years or maybe a month or maybe a week. And then all of a sudden, like, God shows up and everything happens quickly. Like everything lines up. And I know you know what I'm talking about, where it just, you're like, oh my word, I didn't see any of that coming. And then boom, 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 all falls into play. But man, God is in the background. He is working. He is working. And he's looking at you and your mistakes that you think you've made, or what somebody did to you to get you off track. And he's like, man, that's going to boost us. We're actually going to get back on track, and we're going to be, instead of 1x, we're going to be ahead 5x. Like, just realize what he's doing. And this story is so powerful because you see this and you're like, wow, God, I did not. Whoa. You're telling me your word is about this kind of stuff, like all this messiness, and then you make it so beautiful. And that's who Jesus is, right? We say this over and over again, but Joseph is just a version of Jesus. Joseph's character and integrity to stay the course and trust and be faithful with what he's been given, even though it's counterculture. It's huge. It's huge.
So basically that brings us to chapter 42.
Oh, man.
And this is when Joseph's brothers come to Egypt. So we've had this 7 years of abundance. And now we're entering into the 7 years of famine.
Oh, right? Dude, nobody likes that. That's 2020. Right? Like, we were living the dream about a year ago, and now it's like,
So
2020, clear vision.
Jacob, Joseph's father. Jacob's father learned that there was grain in Egypt, right? And so he sent his sons. They said, there's grain in Egypt. Why don't you guys go there and get us some food? The first thing that I want to point out is that just like pretty much everyone else, they waited until their grain was gone before they went to go get some more, right? I think that so often we wait until we're completely depleted until we go to Jesus. You don't have to wait till you're totally depleted. You don't have to wait until there's a famine, right? You don't have to wait until you're desperate. You can just trust him, and you can be with him at any point, at any day, at any time, right? You can go to Jesus before you're totally depleted.
It's always better that way.
You come as you are. You don't have to get ready to go to Jesus. He's there and he's willing to accept you exactly as you are. And oftentimes it's better if you go to him first instead of waiting and running out through all your resources and coming to him at the very end of your rope. He has a better plan for you than you have for yourself. So it says, all 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. Jacob did not send Benjamin. So Benjamin is now the other favorite because Benjamin is Joseph's real brother. Joseph and Benjamin both came from Rachel, who we remember is
same mom.
Jacob's favorite wife. Yes. So Benjamin is his other favorite, and he says, yeah, I'm not sending Benjamin because he was afraid that harm might come to him. So his sons were among those who went to buy grain because there was now a famine in Canaan also. And obviously Joseph was the governor of the land, the person who sold grain to all its people. So when his brothers arrived, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. As he spoke harshly to them, "Where do you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan," they replied, "to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. So Joseph was he looked like an Egyptian, and he was speaking in Egyptian, and he had an interpreter there. And so his brothers didn't recognize him, but he recognized them.
Right off the bat, he knew who
they probably thought he was, they did think he was dead. We're going to find out soon that they thought Joseph was probably dead. So they would never expect him to be the guy selling them grain, the guy that's in charge of everything.
It's kind of like they just put him in the back of his mind, like, oh, he gone. Like,
right.
We don't want to think about that. We don't want to think about what we tried to do. We tried to kill him, and then we gave him away. Dad doesn't even know about that, and it's gone. Gone with the wind.
It says, then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You're spies. You've come to see where our land is unprotected." And they said, "No, my lord," they answered. "Your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies." And he said no to them. And he said, "You have come to see where our land is unprotected." And they replied, "Your servants were 12 brothers, the sons of one man who lives in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more."
Meaning Joseph.
He's dead. Joseph said to them, "It is just as I told you, you're spies. And this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place until your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison so that your words may be tested to see if you're telling the truth. If you're not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." And he put them all in custody for 3 days. On the third day, and I don't really know what Joseph's thinking here. I don't know if he knows what he's thinking here.
I think he's just leading by the Spirit, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure he prayed through all this because he knew his brothers would have to come because everyone had to come there because they had all the food stored up, right? But I do think, I don't think it's tricky. I'm just assuming, right? Because the Bible doesn't really elaborate on this, but I'm just assuming that he's like, okay, God gave me a plan. Like, let's just
let him lead me.
Let's just kind of test them. Like, I know who they are. They don't know who I am. But let's see if they're actually going to tell the truth maybe this time, right? I don't know. Kind of walking through that.
So he put them all in custody for 3 days. And on the third day, he said, "Do this and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison while the rest of you guys go and take grain back for your starving households. But you must bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified and that you may not die." This they proceeded to do. They said to one another, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That is why this distress has come on us." So here they are. They're still stuck in their shame and guilt, right? Where they're thinking, man, all these years ago we did this to our brother, and now we're being repaid for it, right?
A lot of us are doing that today, right? Like, oh man, what I did years ago, God has punished me now. I just got a speeding ticket, right? Like, or whatever. Yeah. You just play it out, and it's like, man, how our God's not like that? It's just, it's.
Reuben replied, Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must have an accounting for his blood." They did not realize that Joseph could understand them, since he was using an interpreter. He turned away from them and he began to weep. But then he came back and spoke to them again. He had Simeon taken from them and bound before their eyes. Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to put each man's silver back in his sack, and to give them provisions for their journey. After this was done for them, they loaded their grain on the donkeys and left. So Joseph gave them all their money back in their bags. They didn't know that yet. At the place where they stopped for the night, one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey, and he saw the silver in the mouth of the sack. "My silver has been returned," he said to his brothers. "Here it is in my sack." Their hearts sank, and they turned to each other trembling and said, "What is this that God has done to us?"
Yeah, that's kind of, can we stop there? That's kind of weird, right? What is this that God has done to us? He's blessed us with money, right? Like it just, and don't get sidetracked on this. This is you. This is us, right? We do this.
What were they afraid
how can
of?
God? Yeah,
They were afraid of receiving something that they didn't earn, right?
That's
they were
exactly
afraid
what
of
it
that
was.
was going to look like. They were like, "This doesn't make sense." If somebody comes and
it's not logical. He hooked us up.
We didn't earn this. We're going to be in trouble for it, right? What does that sound like?
To me, that's the grace of God.
So many of us think we have to earn
As
the
Jesus.
grace of God.
You don't earn it.
We are afraid of grace because we are afraid that if we don't earn it, it's going to look like we're taking something that doesn't belong to us, right? It's going to look like we didn't earn it. It's not going to feel right. It's not going to be right. We didn't earn this.
This is the foundation of Christianity.
Too good to be true.
This is it. Like, accept the grace of God.
We think we have to work for it. And the Bible tells us the exact opposite of that.
For it is by grace you have been saved through faith,
works,
not by works.
So that you cannot boast. If we all had to work for it, we would be God. We would be Jesus. We wouldn't need him. Right? And so I think that is such
it's pivotal.
A great picture of what grace looks like, right? They were terrified.
And this is years before, this setting is years before Jesus comes. Mm-hmm. Isn't that the craziest part? Mm-hmm. Like, it is another example of how good our God is. The grace and mercy. Mm-hmm. These guys, there was what, 11 of them? No, 10, because the one was at home. And each one of them got silver, right? Mm-hmm. In their bags? For what? Mm-hmm. And yet they still can't accept it, mm-hmm. right? Some of us, it's kind of like getting a gift, right? Some of us just can't accept the gift. Mm-hmm. But today, you need to accept the gift of Jesus. It's real.
That it's a gift.
It's a gift.
It's not something you earn.
You can't earn it. And guess what? You really don't deserve it, mm-hmm. but you do. Right? That's how good God is. If you're, sorry, I'm a sidebar now. We're running a little behind. But if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about with your kids. You just want to give them everything. They don't deserve it most of the time, right? They don't, but it's a gift because of the love, right? They could do nothing to take away your love mm-hmm. as a father or mother. Nothing. This is God's grace. And we need to get this today. You need to get this today. We always say this too. We live from grace and never towards it. Meaning you don't have to work towards it. Mm-hmm. Live from it. Just mm-hmm. accept it.
Verse 29.
She's about to yell at me.
Verse 29. When they came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them. They said, "The man who is Lord of the land spoke harshly to us, and we were treated as though we were spying on the land. But we said to him, 'We're honest men. We're not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One is no more, and the youngest is now with their father in Canaan.' Then the man who is Lord over the land said to us, 'This is how I will know whether you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food for your starving households and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, so I will know that you're not spies, but honest men. Then I will give your brother back to you, and you can trade in the land.' As they were emptying their sacks, there in each man's sack was a pouch of silver. And they and their father saw the money pouches. They were frightened. Their father Jacob said to them, 'You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you want to take Benjamin? Everything is against me. Number one, I think there's a chance that Joseph might have caught on at some point that it was their fault that Joseph was gone, because he just said,
right,
you have deprived me of my children.
Right.
Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin. Everything is against me, right? He thinks everything is against him. And he is basically wallowing, right, in that sorrow. And he is blaming his sons, rightfully so. And it says then that Reuben said to his father, you may put both of my sons to death if I do not bring him back to you, and trust him to my care, and I will bring him back. So Reuben, he's the one that originally saved Joseph's life, right? He's the one that said, hey, let's not kill him. Yeah. Let's just throw him in a pit, right? Because he wanted to come back later and save him and whatever. And I think we kind of learned that he was trying to earn favor with his father because they were not on good terms because he slept with one of his wives.
Oh, that's interesting.
Weird.
Why you're not on good terms? Wow.
So I think that he's still kind of maybe trying to earn favor, or maybe he's just, God's been working on his heart. He's
all of it. You never know.
Like I think that he just wants to do what's right. And so he offers his own children. He says, you can put both of my sons to death if I don't bring yours back. Ooh. Right? Because we remember Benjamin is Jacob's favorite. And he says, I'll bring him back to you. But Jacob said, my son will not go down there with you. His brother is dead and he is the only one left. That's all I have. If harm comes to him on the journey you are taking, you will bring my gray head down to the grave. So I guess next week we're going to find out if he ever eventually sends him back, what happens. I think a few more years go by before he agrees. They wait till they're starving again.
This story is just so, twists and turns. And I think if you've been with us the last 7 weeks, you're thinking, man, I thought you guys are encouraging. But in this, life, there's highs and lows, and we want to walk with you through that.
How is it not encouraging to know that your messed up life is not so messed up?
That's an encouragement in
all
itself.
All of these messed up things are leading up to something so good, right?
Something so good.
So I think that, eventually, kind of like Thanksgiving in a couple weeks, he's going to be reunited with his family, right? Like, what is that going to look like? We're going to talk about that next week. So be here for that. It's going to be good.
It's going to be a real good one. And today, man, just know God's with you.
Just remember that.
God is with you.
You don't have to be afraid of grace.
No.
It's nothing that anyone deserves. It's nothing that you can earn. All you have to do is trust him and accept it.
Accept it. Whenever you see grace, replace it with Jesus. Wherever you see Jesus, replace it with grace.
Don't become hopeless in your life circumstances, right? Like, God's going to use it to make something beautiful, and you can trust that because he showed us that over and over and over again.
Over and over again.
No matter what you're faced with, what darkness you have going on, God can turn it to light, right?
And he will.
Beautiful things out of
marvelous, supernatural. He is, and he's working on you today. There's hope in that. And we hope this is encouraging, and we can't wait to see you next week. We're going to pray. Okay? We're going to pray for your week. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this story. And most of all, we thank you for Jesus. We thank you for your grace. It is a powerful thing when we can rest and live from your grace. God, today I pray that you look over our community. You look over every single person watching right now. Let them know that they are deeply loved by you. And in their mess, and their mistakes, and in their worries, and in their anxiety, you are there. And you are going to work everything for your good. God, I'm praying for those that are accepting Jesus for the first time, that they know that you are madly obsessed with them and you've been pursuing them for years. And you accepted them years ago. God, we thank you for Joseph and the legacy that he's left. is powerful, and there's so much hope in it. And God, as you prepare the way for all of us, the path that you have for us to reach more people, more and more people, put it in our heart that we know, and our souls that we know that the peace that we have comes from you and your Spirit. Jesus, we love you. We thank you for this time. Allow us to get prepared for the holidays, Thanksgiving, and to love those around us. Jesus, we love you. It's in your name. Amen. We love you guys. Another great weeks ahead of you. The best is yet to come. And we're hoping our backyard is going to be done.
See you next week.
Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.